Yeah, boy. We are live. Oh, yes, we are live. Your boy is here. Your boy is back with an impromptu live stream because once again, I have to break this down. You know, I tried to do this politely. I tried to do this amicably. But it seems like people just don't understand. So now we got to do this in podcast form. Ooh, boy. Man. So let me tweet out that we are live. And I will begin because, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, it's on tonight. It's on tonight, bro. It's on tonight. That's all I'm going to say. It's on tonight. It is on. It's on because this is ridiculous. This is beyond ridiculous to me. We're doing this again. We're doing this again. How's my audio? My audio good? Let me know, man. Let me know. All right. How's the audio? The audio, if me audio good. Is my audio good? Let your boy know how we sounding. Audio's on point? Good. Audio's on point. I appreciate that. That's what's up. That's what I'm trying to hear. That's what's up. So, I guess we should go ahead and kick this podcast off. Wow, I cannot believe I'm almost 20 episodes into VypDrive. And I started VypDrive at the end of January, and we're almost 20 episodes in. This is episode 19, which is crazy. But you know what? It's getting late. I don't want to keep y'all here too long, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's go to work. VypDrive, episode 19. Start now. What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about tech, captain of Team Apple, baby. And welcome to another episode of VypDrive. This is the podcast about tech, hosted by the man about tech. And tonight, your boy is going solo, coast to coast. Now, you see the title of the podcast. The title is simply stated, the Apple App Store is not a monopoly. So you're probably like, Viper, why are we talking about this right now, tonight? Well, as some of you may or may not be aware, there has been a special court case going on or being heard by the Supreme Court, Robert Pepper versus Apple, where iPhone consumers are trying to sue Apple for having a monopoly or establishing a monopoly with the Apple App Store. Now, this alleged monopoly stems from the fact that Apple charges 30% for any revenue made from apps in their App Store, whether it be iOS, tvOS, whatever. If you're an app developer in the Apple App Store and you make money on your app, Apple charges a 30% cut of your revenue. Now, if you're a subscription-based business model, Apple takes 30% the first time, and then for any recurring revenue, they take 15%. So it's not 30 all the time if your business model is subscription-based. But if we're talking about one-time purchases like in games and things like that, they're taking 30% of everything that you make. So due to the 30% App Store commission that Apple levies against the developers, iPhone customers are trying to sue Apple because they feel like they are the direct collateral damage from developers having to raise the price of their app. They feel like developers actually raise the price of their app, and because of that 30% app commission, iPhone consumers feel like they're being unfairly charged for apps from the iOS App Store. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I've covered this 2 times on my YouTube channel, Viper. Info's in the show notes. Check it out. But the first time I covered this when it was the issue back in November, when this case was being brought to the Supreme Court. And then I covered it again in February because I actually made a video defending Apple's 30% App Store commission. So today, on May 13th, 2019, the Supreme Court decided to uphold their decision, and they did say that Apple will the Supreme Court has ruled that Apple can be sued by iPhone customers for an App Store monopoly. And that, my friends, is where the captain of Team Apple has a direct problem with this decision. Now, it is important to know before I go into all types of rant mode that this is not a ruling. This is basically the Supreme Court stating that Apple can be brought to trial for. Hold on. This is basically just a ruling by the Supreme Court establishing that iPhone customers can indeed sue Apple, that the case can be brought to trial, that Apple will have to fight this in the court. Now, will the customers win this? Highly unlikely. But the Supreme Court has given them that window to actually bring Apple to trial for having a monopoly. So, I guess I should start off the podcast by defining monopoly. You know what? Let me go to my iPhone real quick and get an actual dictionary definition of monopoly, and then we could proceed here because we need to understand what's going on. We need to understand what's really going on. I want you all to fully understand what's happening before I go into it. So, if I Google define monopoly, I get a definition of the exclusive possession or control of the supply of a trade. Okay, let me read. I can't read. Definition: the exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. So again, the definition of monopoly is the exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service. So the service here, I guess, would be considering Apple selling apps in their iOS App Store. And the commodity, I guess, would be the app. The immediate problem here, as my man Tech Examiner has just highlighted in this live stream chat that I'm looking at right now, is that iOS is not the only place you can buy apps. I've been trying to take this, I've been trying to explain this for months, but people aren't listening. So guess what? We bringing it to the podcast, and y'all about to listen real close tonight. iOS is only one of a few app stores, a few app platforms out there. Android, the Google Play Store is a whole separate platform. If you want to go buy apps, you can take it to the Google Play Store and buy your apps. Hell, even Samsung has their own app store platform. I think they call it the Galaxy Store or whatever the monkey nipple dribble they call it. But Samsung has a platform where you can buy apps. Then there's what? Steam and Microsoft, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different app platforms out there. Apple is not the only game in town. Now, if we just keep it to smartphones, then you have iOS and you have Android. So as an iPhone customer, yes, you can only buy iOS app on the Apple App Store. Yes, you can only buy iOS apps on the Apple App Store. But number one, iOS is Apple's proprietary built platform. Number two, if you don't like it, get an Android. It's that simple. Now, let me go back to my notes here. And I got notes. I can't prepare. Let me take this drink real quick. There was a case, I think back in the 17 or 1800s. It was the Illinois Brick Company versus Illinois. And there was a ruling established in that case that a customer could not sue a manufacturer if that customer wasn't the direct buyer of the manufacturer's goods. So because that customer used a contractor to build the structure or whatever, that customer could not sue the manufacturer for the bricks they supplied or whatever the case may be, because the manufacturer was actually selling bricks to the contractor that the customer hired and not the direct customer themselves. So in that court case, the precedent was set that the customer could not sue the manufacturer because the manufacturer was selling bricks to the contractor and not the customer. So if we bring that case back from the 1800s or whatever, all the way to 2019, I am trying to tell you that the iPhone consumer is not the one buying apps from Apple. You are buying your apps from the App Store developers. Apple does not sell the app. That is the main argument that is glossed over, that is lost in this whole situation. Apple does not sell the app. Let me repeat that. Apple does not sell apps unless it's their own. But for the purposes of this case, we are talking about apps that are sold by third-party app developers who have their apps in iOS and Apple's App Store. And do you want to know why Apple can't be held liable for selling the app? Do you want to know why? It's very simple. It's very simple. I'm going to say it a couple of times so you people in the back understand where I'm coming from. But the reason why Apple can't be held liable for selling apps is because, for one simple reason and one simple reason only, Apple does not set the pricing for the apps in the App Store. Oh, yes. Let me say it again for the people way in the back. Because Apple does not set the pricing for the apps that you purchase in the iOS App Store, you cannot sue Apple because Apple is not the seller of the app. They don't set the pricing. How can you sue somebody that doesn't even set pricing for the product that you're trying to buy? Do you know who sets the pricing for the app that you buy from the iOS App Store? It's the app developers who put the app in that app store. They are the ones who set the pricing, not Apple. I need people to understand this because I don't think a lot of you understand what's happening and how this works. So again, Apple does not set the price for apps in the iOS App Store, watchOS app, whatever. Apple does not set the pricing. And if you do not set the pricing, how the hell can you be held? How the hell can you be deemed a seller if you can't control the pricing of your product? That doesn't sound like a seller to me. I'm just saying. You know, I am not the smartest person on earth. I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I understand basic, simple logistics and physics. I do have a degree in physics. I understand simple stuff. Simple things come naturally to me. And this is natural. If you don't set the price for your app, then you cannot be considered a seller. It's that simple. But somehow, because of emotions and just people turning it and twisting the narrative to suit their own needs and twisting the facts, somehow we're now allowing iPhone customers to sue Apple when Apple does not sell the app. The iOS App Store is a gateway, a storefront that Apple allows developers to showcase their app. It is a storefront. It is not Apple's own store per se. It is a storefront. Apple does not control the pricing. Apple just gives developers a storefront to display their app. What happens after that is up to the developers. The developers set the pricing, not Apple. So, between Apple not setting the pricing for the app that you buy, on top of the fact that there are other app stores out there that you can go to if you don't like Apple's 30% app commission, which doesn't even affect you as an iPhone customer because the developers are the ones paying the 30% to Apple, not you. I don't see your case, iPhone customers. I don't see your case. You're looking a little shaky like King's Landing was last night in Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 5. You're crumbling out there, iPhone customers. You're crumbling, you're shaking, you're wobbly like you just got hit with a haymaker. You're looking kind of shaky out there right now, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm all for being on the side of the consumers, but when it comes to common sense, it ain't so common right now. I need to clean up on our common sense because y'all not showing me y'all got common sense with this lawsuit. Oh boy. Oh my God. Wow. The other thing that's lost in this whole let's do Apple thing is that did anybody ever stop to think that Apple is not the only company that charges a 30% App Store commission? Because I'm pretty sure Google does as well. But I don't hear anybody bitching when Google does it. I don't see anybody trying to sue Google for doing the same damn thing that Apple is doing. Google is doing the same damn thing. If you buy an app for the App Store or if you're an app developer with an app in the Google Play Store, guess what you are doing? You are paying Google a 30% cut of your revenue, just like Apple. But nobody talks about Google doing the same damn thing. It's all about Apple. Apple's charging us too much. Oh, they take too much money. Even though Google's doing the exact same damn thing on the other side. So tell me how's the grass greener on the other side when the grass is the same damn color? Whew. So, like I said earlier, I did 2 videos about this particular topic on my YouTube channel. Like I said, the one in November was talking about this court case and all the details and whatnot. I did another video in February defending the 30% App Store commission. So let's talk about why I defended the 30% App Store commission. When we hear 30%, right? People think, oh, that's a high number. Apple's trying to be greedy, take all of the developers' money, blah, 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 blah. But nobody thinks about what goes into an app being on an Apple App Store. What costs do Apple incur, or what cost does Apple incur trying to keep your app up and running 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, keeping your app up and running in their App Store. All the legalities and logistics that are involved in keeping an app viable and live on an App Store. But let's talk about them. Since we want to sue Apple, and I'm the captain of Team Apple, let's talk about them. We take our drink real quick here. So when I did my video back in February defending the 30% App Store commission, I did research on this, and I got a bunch of facts from a developer who actually put out a tweet. He put out a tweet defending Apple in their 30% App Store commission. And he made very logical points in his tweet when he was defending this. This developer, when he defended Apple's App Store commission, brought up things like payment clearing, fraud, insurance, local tax law enforcement, DRM, content distribution network. All of these things that go into the back end, the admin stuff that you as an iPhone customer, as a developer, stuff that you never see but has to be done to maintain your app in the App Store. So let's talk about payment clearing. As I said earlier, Apple does not set the pricing, but developers, they sell the app through the App Store. They have to get paid. So Apple has a surefire system to make sure that developers get paid for money that they make through the iOS App Store or any other Apple App Store. Apple has a payment system to make sure that those payments clear all the time so developers get their money on time. And they have fraud protection and insurance. Not to mention they have DRM protection for your app so somebody can't come over and copyright, pirate your app, and make money off of your app. Apple protects you as a developer against fraud and DRM. Somebody copying your app. They can't do that in the App Store. Apple has that on lockdown. Not to mention the fact that Apple has a stringent vetting system in place. When you submit an app to the App Store, it goes through all types of checks and balances before Apple will even approve your app to be in the App Store. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is doing that like Apple. Don't believe me? Go research malware and Google Play Store and laugh at the results. Don't worry, I'll wait. Every other damn day, you hear about malware in the Google Play Store running rampant. Every other damn day. You do not hear that about apps in the iOS App Store. Now, that's not to say that iOS apps don't get caught up in malware, because they do. But it's so damn rare that we rarely ever hear about it, because it rarely happens. Like my man Janosin just said in the live stream, DRM is effective on iOS. DRM is not effective on Android because people can sideload apps onto their Android phones. You cannot sideload an app on iOS unless you jailbreak it, but then that's an whole other story. But typically, you cannot sideload apps on an iOS device. Good luck. And that's because iOS is locked down. That's because Apple wants to ensure that your customers, your potential customers, developers, are protected against security risks. iOS is a walled garden for good reason. iOS is universally regarded as the most well-protected mobile operating system on planet Earth, and it is for these reasons. Apple takes painstakingly measures, cautions to protect their customers from having malware or having their security at risk when they're dealing with iOS and they're in the Apple ecosystem. Apple locks it down. But nobody thinks about that when they talk about the 30% App Store commission. Nobody talking about that. Where's that at? Where's the privacy? Where's the security? Where's the peace of mind that you get when you're using an app in the iOS App Store? Where is it? Why are we not talking about that? But yet, we want to sue Apple for charging a 30% app commission when the same thing is being done on the other side at Google. Where's the lawsuit for Google? Are we going to sue Google too? I mean, at this point, we might as well sue Google too, because they're doing the same damn thing. But I don't hear anything about a lawsuit against Google. This is hypocrisy. This is hypocrisy at its truest finest form. If they're going to sue Apple, you better be ready to sue Google too, because they're doing the same thing, baby. Tell y'all, this is some ridiculous stuff, man. This is ridiculous. Everybody want to be in a quick hurry to everybody wants to be in a quick hurry to sue somebody, but don't sit down and think about the ramifications or think about why you're trying to sue somebody. Nobody thinks things through. Everybody's in a snap rush judgment to get that instant gratification, but they don't think about the ramifications of the decisions that they make. So, again, because of everything I talked about tonight in this podcast, the Apple App Store is not a monopoly. You can't have a monopoly if there are other app stores out there. As long as Google Play Store exists, Apple can never have an app store monopoly. I'm sorry, it's the truth. I read you all the definition of monopoly earlier. Apple does not have complete control over the flow of apps in the world. There's Google, there's Android, there's a Play Store, there's Android apps. iOS customers have options. Apple is not your only option. You can go to Android and buy apps from the Android Play Store if you want to do that. You have that choice. Apple can't stop you from doing that. Not to mention the fact that Apple charges their 30% app. Not to mention that the fact that the 30% app commission that Apple charges is to developers. They charge that to App Store developers, not iOS customers. And even though there might be some apps that are higher in cost because of that 30% App Store commission, not all apps are affected by that price hike. Not all developers pass that cost to their customers. And even if they did, you still can't sue Apple because the developers control the pricing. Apple does not decide the pricing of the apps that you buy on the iOS App Store. The developers do. If you got beef, you better take it up with the developers because you're going to get nowhere fast taking it up with Apple. If you want to sue somebody, you better sue your favorite developer because they're the ones that's overcharging you for the app. It ain't Apple. Apple doesn't set the pricing for the app. That is the App Store developer doing that. Well, the interesting thing about this case is if Apple somehow, I don't see it happening, but if Apple somehow does lose this case, this goes a lot deeper than Apple. Like I said, Google is doing the same thing. So if they can sue Apple and win, guess where they're coming next? Google, they're coming to you. They're coming your way, baby. You better get ready. You better batten down the hatches, and you better do a hell of a lot better job. And you better do a hell of a lot better job than what Cersei did battening down the red keep, because we see that didn't work. So Google, if Apple loses, you better be ready, baby, because they're coming for you. You better be ready. Like the other interesting thing that I didn't really talk about, because I was alluding to the iPhone customers, is that developers also have other options to developer apps. They don't solely have to develop apps for iOS. They can go to Android, they can go to Steam, or wherever they want to go. They are not locked into developing for iOS. But everybody and their mama knows that you make the most money developing apps for iOS, and that's why they're here. So, on one hand, you want to bitch at Apple for charging you 30%, but on the other hand, you're making buku money from App Store, from the iOS App Store and the Apple customers. But you want to try to bitch about it. Spotify, I'm looking at you. Man, some of these people out here are on some hypocritical stuff, man. It's hypocritical stuff, brah. I'm telling you. But yeah. So, I mean, it's cute that the Supreme Court ruled that Apple would have to face this in trial, but it's not going to get very far. It's not going to get far at all because of the precedent set by the Illinois Brick versus Illinois case, because of what I just stated earlier, because iPhone customers aren't the ones being charged 30% by Apple. It's the developers and not the iPhone customers. These are legal facts. As I keep saying over and over in 2019, the facts don't care about your emotions. The facts don't care about your opinions. The fact is this are the fact is this as they are. The facts are the facts. What did I just say? The facts are that Apple does not set pricing for the app, so they cannot be considered sellers. The facts are that developers are the ones choosing to offload that 30% to the consumers. Some of them, not all of them. The facts are that Apple charges 30% to developers, not iPhone customers. These are the facts. And no matter how you feel about the facts remain the facts. in conclusion to this podcast, you know what, iPhone customers? If you think that Apple's 30% is too much for you, if you can't handle it, if you think you can do better, then go do better. Go buy yourself an Android phone and go shop at the Google Play Store and let me know how that works out for you. I promise you, it won't be as pretty as you think it is. You'll be running back to Apple real quick. I've been there. I've done that. That's a road to nowhere. It doesn't work. There's a reason I call myself the captain of Team Apple. It's because I've been to the Android side. I used Android as my main phone for years. And where am I today? Repping the fruit. I rep the fruit for a reason. I've used all platforms. I use BlackBerry. I use Android. I use iPhones. I use them all, baby. And where am I today? What do I claim? Captain of Team Apple. Anyway, if you want to support the podcast, there are links in the description or links in the show notes. If you're listening on audio only, feel free to buy your boy a coffee. It will be greatly appreciated. It is not required. Also, if you want to support the podcast monthly, there's a link in the show notes for you to do that too. Again, not required, but greatly appreciated. Help me do what I do. Help me keep bringing you this fire that I bring you each and every week here on VypDrive. Thank you for the folks that tuned into the live stream on YouTube. Thank you to all of you all out there in audio only land. Thank you to all of you all out there in audio only land. Greatly appreciate you guys rocking with me each and every week, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing videos, if I'm doing podcasts, if I'm doing live streams, no matter what, you guys continue to rock with me. I am blessed to call you all my friends. You are Vype Nation. You are the best. But we are done. So until the next time, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more.